Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Diallo back with another dose on the channel, y'all. Welcome to another reacts, y'all. We are on Twitch, and I have a reacts that I wanted to watch. I seen it a week ago, and it's called "Could Frieza Take Over Viltrum?" Personally, I say yes. I believe Frieza is taking over Viltrum with ease. The Viltrumites are not like that. Dragon Ball Z is on a whole nother world, whole nother universe compared to Invincible. There's just no way that he's not taking it over. So I want to see how he breaks this down, see what he's talking about, see if Frieza is losing to the Viltrums. For the Viltrumites. Let's get into the video.
Existed in Dragon Ball. Could Frieza take over the planet? And if so, what would happen with Viltrum under his control? Could they eventually have an uprising, or are they doomed to be his warriors forever? The answer might sound obvious, but it's more complicated than you think. This video will work twofold. It will be part power scaling, but also part what if. We want to see how strong the Viltrumites are, and if
part
they
power scaling,
and what would follow
no,
after.
they're not.
But also, how would they operate under Frieza's rule if they are taken over? To start,
if Frieza's invading, they're getting
cooked at the start of Invincible. So the big question for this hypothetical is, what time frame are we using? We're going to use the population of the 50 strongest. Considering Frieza's a businessman and an opportunist, this would be the best time to strike. It makes it easier to take over and makes the Viltrumites easier to control. Just like they say,
but
he wanted them
also,
dead, but
also, if he's doing power scaling, before he gets into it, and I feel like he's going to cover this, I'm just reaching right now, before he does power scaling, if there's 50 Viltrumites left, and they're the strongest 50 Viltrumites from what we've seen, and we've seen these Viltrumites and what they can do, Frieza's forces is getting cooked, not Frieza himself. He's not getting cooked by the Viltrumites. I think he can take on about 30 of them before them last 20 start giving him a run for his money. Thrag is going to definitely put in the most work, I feel like. That's a fight.
He won't mind a few in his army. This will be a pre-Invincible Viltrum and a pre-Saiyan Saga Frieza force. We're also going to exclude Mark here, so I guess we could use a time where Nolan hasn't gone to Earth yet and become Omni-Man or had a kid. But Nolan will be a part of this group. Okay. First off, how strong are the Viltrumites? He's a part of the 50 strongest, well, these remaining 50 are the strongest, but some are stronger than others. We don't need to scale each of them in depth, and some of them can't even be scaled as accurately because they have less feats. Though I think the common consensus is that all the remaining Viltrumites fall in the small planetary range, just on varying
planetary.
Yeah,
they're not
easy to come to that conclusion.
I don't know. Planetary, city level.
A planet that's around Earth's size after it had been destabilized.
He didn't destroy a planet though.
So it wouldn't make them fully planetary.
They did.
Just below
them three, yeah,
of course,
just
that's
below it.
The sun disk stuff here
just
for the sake
below
of simplicity and because of how contentious that is. That's a whole other can of worms. So we're gonna stick with the usual scaling for this hypothetical. I previously made a video about 50 average Saiyans versus 50 average Viltrumites. I recommend checking that video out too because it'll give more context here. But in that video, I also discussed how the speeds of the Viltrumites work. They're obviously massively faster than light. However, they can't accelerate to that instantly. But their combat and reaction
takes a minute for them to get there.
To wherever their travel speeds go to. And
damn,
like I mentioned, these Viltrumites are the peak of the peak, so they're even faster than those ones I mentioned. Now we have an idea about the Viltrumites, but what about Frieza's army? How strong is the Frieza force? Frieza's soldiers have a wide variance of powers, and it doesn't really have a specific number of soldiers, though it is at least in the hundreds, if not thousands by this point. Unfortunately, we're going to have to get into power levels here, which are nice for quick power comparisons within Dragon Ball, but converting them to actual power scaling kind of sucks because they're not linear and they don't capture the full picture of someone's power.
And they're not strong at all.
Intent when Toriyama made them. It even gets made fun of in the story itself. Anyways, the average Frieza soldier likely caps out at Raditz's power level. So we could say the grunts, the random nameless soldiers on Namek were around 1500. And considering how important the mission on Namek was, Frieza brought what were considered good soldiers. So for the sake of this video, let's assume that the average weaker soldier is probably around
Spider
the
reacts, bro.
Which is pretty much Goku's peak in
not until we do them fights. Not until we do them fights.
So we could scale it right off the tip. By the way, we're going to work on Dragon Ball manga scaling here, rather than anime stuff. Raditz Saga Goku is planetary level himself, arguably even higher than that.
Literally, he's blowing up planets. Yeah, literally.
Than a normal planet. But I digress, let's just keep it simple and say planetary. As for speed, Goku's only about relativistic in combat speed here, and reaction speed as well. With some pretty slow travel speed too. Dragon Ball characters at this point were only about supersonic tier when actually flying. But the reaction and combat speeds are more important here. So all of this applies to the average run-of-the-mill Frieza Force soldier. But
they're moving though. The Frieza Force isn't doing that.
Of course,
the Ginyu Force.
Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta. who are
Oh, they
1500,
would be there.
4000, and 18,000 respectively for their power levels.
Nah,
Though
but
the
we
former
don't
two
do power
vary
levels
sometimes.
around here, though.
Vegeta, on the other hand, is solid at
The
18,000,
Raditz knees
and that
about
is a
strong
pretty
as
definite
shit.
power
Real
level.
shit, though.
These three could also turn
Why do you
out
think he'd
great
be
and
like, why do you
multiply
think,
their power
bro?
tenfold. There are also soldiers
Man.
like Apul who fight warrior Namekians, so his power's in the couple thousand since the Namekian
Raditz got
powers
cooked
of
for a
3,000
reason,
as
bro.
well.
He would have been the
A few
strongest
members like him
Saiyan, bro.
exist. Some are even of the same race, but
Them legs
I'd only
meant
assume
something.
a handful of warriors are in
Them
the
legs
circle.
meant something.
Then there are people like Kui, who's also at 18,000, and it's safe to assume that
18,000?
a few like him exist, but probably
Nah.
single digits if anything.
Bardock
He and Vegeta were pretty
is at least
exceptional.
18.
And there's also Frieza's
Maybe
right-hand men,
16.
Zarbon and Dodoria, the
Yeah.
strongest of them at 23,000 and 22,000 respectively. Finally, Frieza himself, though he rarely does the dirty work. 530,000 in his first form, up to 150 million full power. A huge range. Now, everybody
Huge
else I just
range.
listed is just varying levels
Huge
of large
range.
planetary. Again, power levels aren't linear, so differences in power
Yeah, they're
levels
not.
aren't exactly multiplicative. Though, as for Frieza himself, he's
That's what I'm
obviously
saying.
really good.
18K on
First form Frieza
Queen?
is a
Nah,
small
that's why I was
Stardust,
like,
while at
and you
full
can't
power,
compare
he
him to
buffs all the way
Bardock,
to
because if
large
that's the
Stardust.
case, then Bardock's
Thankfully,
like
unlike
17,
invincible power
16.
scaling, I feel like a lot of
Or
people
like
easily agree on
19,
where all these
20.
characters fall in terms of their destructive capabilities. The higher echelon of Frieza Force soldiers are faster than light, but not by a significant margin like the Viltrumites. Though, once you get to Frieza himself, he does go into the massively faster than light
Yeah.
territory. Probably still not on the level of the Viltrumites, but still incredibly quick. Raditz and Goku
What?
on their own are at least planetary, so that sets a solid floor. This means Raditz, one of the weakest among the named Frieza Force soldiers, is stronger than the best Viltrumites. And the
Yeah.
average schmucks that are part of the army and don't even have names are
Exactly.
probably still stronger than the Viltrumites, at least when it comes to attack power and durability. But in case you haven't already noticed, there's a pretty huge caveat: speed. Dragon Ball doesn't get into that massively faster than light territory until later on. Well, besides Frieza, he is in that realm. Granted, the Viltrumites also do need to accelerate to get there, and they usually
Yeah,
won't
they
fight at
do.
these speeds on a planet because, first of all, it's easier to fly in the vacuum of space, and second
Yeah.
of all, at least in Mark's case, you're going to be damaging stuff around you, and you don't want to do that. And I doubt they'd want to
Exactly.
fight at their fullest speed on planet Viltrum because they would be destroying their own home. But even with the
Nah,
speed
they'll do
advantage,
it.
what is speed going to do when everyone else outclasses your strength? Sure, against the weaker Frieza Force soldiers,
Like,
you'll
that's
make
what
it
I'm
for the
saying,
gaps.
bro.
But like, even when you're
This
getting to
video
Raditz
is starting to
level,
get
the
to
gap
me,
between
bro,
him
because
and
we
the
all
average
know the
Viltrumite is
answer.
gonna be so
Frieza's
large that
dominating
you
the
can't simply
Viltrumites.
make it up by being really fast and speed blitzing.
He's
Unless you catch
dominating
the
them.
soldiers off guard, but knowing that they're basically invading a planet full of knockoff Saiyans, they're probably going to be careful. Not to mention, while a lot of the weaker Frieza Force soldiers don't have unique abilities, the stronger ones are shooting Ki Blast, and some of them even have other techniques, so they have a lot at their disposal. They have more versatile skill sets, and this isn't even considering that Frieza could call in the Ginyu Force. I just don't think they'd be necessary here.
No,
I think
they
just
would
because regular
not.
soldiers,
The
particularly
Ginyu Force
strong
isn't-
ones like
yeah,
the
the
Saiyans
Ginyu
and
Force
maybe
isn't
like
necessary.
Zarbon and Dodoria, this planet would be a little bit tougher to take over than normal, but Frieza wouldn't suffer any major losses, and
No.
he would win in the end.
He
Even
would
with
win.
the gap in speed, I don't see any way for the Viltrumites to win.
Literally.
They're not going to be killed either. The whole
Throw
point of Frieza
Bendenda
taking
in
the
there,
planet
we
over is,
fine.
first of all, to keep the planet for himself.
He gonna
He's
heal
not
everybody
destroy
up.
it. I feel like the planet would be somewhat valuable, so he could flip it and sell it. Or just keep the Viltrumites on it like he did with Planet Vegeta.
He would
and
just
keep
make
them
the
essentially as soldiers.
Viltrumites
But
army
that's where we get into
an
the
army.
next part of this video, the what if section. What would happen next? Well, that's where things get interesting. It's not just as straightforward as the Viltrumites become soldiers and that's
Nah.
it. There's a lot of variables to consider. Naturally, Frieza would probably want to use them as soldiers.
What would happen next is, yeah, Frieza would want to use... Bro, that's what I'm saying. The Viltrumite Saiyans, like, bro, Frieza's washing them, bro. Frieza is washing them. There's no way that he's not. Like, that's why I had to pause it right there. In the what if, what he's about to say right now. Yeah, Frieza's going to take over the Viltrumites. He's going to make them his force, his army or whatever. And if the Viltrumites try to overthrow him, they're still not going to be able to beat him because the Viltrumites don't have power scaling or a base form Frost we good. Literally. Like Frieza, we're not even in the golden aspect. He's just talking about base form Frieza up to his final, if not 100% form. He's washing everybody. He's washing them instantly. It's just in a fight. Even if they turn on him,
Of course,
it
if he
isn't a
wanted to kill
fight.
them, he could do so. If we frame this as a deathmatch, the Frieza Force very clearly wins and kills all the
Yeah.
Viltrumites. Frieza could
That's
do
what
this
I'm
alone
saying.
with barely any effort. Just a couple key
Barely
shots
any
from Frieza
effort.
and boom, he's done.
They're
The Viltrumites
done.
are similar to Saiyans and love to fight anyway.
They're done.
Plus, he can control them due to
There's
having
no
stronger
way that they're
soldiers
not
already,
losing.
and he would be offering them work. For now, they'd probably acquiesce for their survival, and
I mean, that they
also
are
because this
losing.
isn't exactly a bad deal for them. They're going to be part of a larger army, get better protection, they're going to be getting paid to fight. So it's not really a terrible predicament, but it will be a huge blow to their pride. And of course, they're not going to get complacent and be Frieza's minions forever. Long term, they'd plan to take over, or rebel somehow, and it might be possible. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far,
I don't think it is
like
possible.
On the video because
that's just
really
not possible.
And I make videos like this a lot, so
it's just not possible.
More, well, that's why the subscribe feature's there. Either way, I appreciate you watching. So what happens when they're assimilated into the Frieza Force? Introduced to Frieza's tech. While the Viltrumites had their own advanced tech, this would maybe cause some other developments. Scouters are for example, as well as healing pods. Viltrumites can already heal themselves, but imagine having the healing pods that the Saiyans...
What universe was he on?
This would accelerate...
Monaika, yeah, throw him in there. Yeah, Monaika, yeah. Throw him in there. Real shit, he'll even do something.
Not even rely on that.
Like,
maybe just preferring
their bones are breaking the moment that they punch Frieza. When they punch him, it ain't gonna be like how it is in Dragon Ball when they turn their head back. He's gonna punch them and their bones are breaking.
How great they already are as warriors, they probably have some latent ki within there. As they fight more and more and heal faster, they grow stronger and stronger. It doesn't seem to help them grow as rapidly as Saiyans, but it's still growth. And once they get ki, their abilities skyrocket even further. Over time, the Viltrumites will get too strong. They're smart though, and they're likely going to keep a low profile, just to not show Frieza their true power. If anything, the three Saiyans will become allies to them. They
he ate Goku's punch like nothing, Monaika. But Pan could squabble a little bit.
This is where things ramp
She would be able to battle for a little bit.
But he would respect them as warriors.
He would.
And also, they could make for useful allies in the meantime.
Not enough training. You don't even think, like, GT Pan? You don't think GT Pan would be able to wash him a little bit?
He's a weakling, so maybe that's not necessary.
Yeah, terrible.
The Viltrumites and the three Saiyans form a loose alliance, training, growing, and hiding their power. But just because they're working alongside each other, doesn't mean
literally a few years she'll be alright.
He still will want to remain above them, so he, Nappa, and Raditz will do everything they can to stay ahead. Eventually, it reaches a tipping point, and there are two outcomes here. One, they attack Frieza.
That's what I'm saying. GT Pan would be good.
Or two,
Videl from Super is cooking somebody.
Victory no matter
Videl from Super is even cooking
they can
somebody.
Overthrow Frieza's army and form a joint Saiyan Viltrumite alliance. But there's two big issues there.
Remember, she can box, but GT Pan is doing something.
Still attack. Now, if they're strong
I feel like she can at least box somebody.
Wouldn't be too much of a problem. Though if their entire collective power is needed to kill Frieza, the Ginyu Force would be an issue. But if they're a lot stronger on average, then that doesn't really matter. King Cold is still a problem though too. Essentially,
Videl do got hands, man. Sam.
And that's another thing. Frieza
Sama, okay. Sama, look.
If they somehow catch Frieza off guard,
Videl got hands though. You gotta remember that, bro.
But they're still King Cold. Plus,
Videl has been boxing since Spobovich, but Spobovich cheated. Spobovich cheated.
Because they might not even be able to kill Frieza right away.
Spobovich cheated.
If he transforms, which is pretty likely.
If he transforms, they're cooked. Yeah, if he transforms, they're cooked.
Growing so strong together that even if they fight Frieza at his full power,
her best move is go on.
Let's say they grow until their power.
Go on.
They want to be extra sure they can win. 50 Viltrumites plus.
Bro, she was a Saiyan Man too. She was Super Saiyan Man
as long
too.
As their own power levels are in the millions. Let's say they train and grow until they're around 3 million each, making for a collective 150 million power level for the Viltrumites and a 90 million power level for the 3 Saiyans after they go grade 8, or 9 million in their base. Since the power's collective, it's not a guaranteed victory as Frieza can divide and conquer. But all their collective power...
She got heart, but that heart gonna be on the floor. Real shit though.
Though the time
she ain't got enough heart for that.
Pretty long. And
she'll be able to do it. Bro, I feel like, yeah, Videl would punch somebody and then her bones would break. I don't know, no, wait. Has she ever punched Gohan?
Like too much. Not to mention, an alliance between the Viltrumites and the Saiyans would be very volatile to begin with. In the first scenario where they attack First Form Frieza, victory is very unlikely unless they insta-kill him in
they
his
wasn't
first
doing that.
It's a low diff for Frieza if he
They're not gonna insta-kill him in his... Now that's where I gotta pause. They wouldn't be able to insta-kill him in his first form anyway. Frieza ain't gonna let that happen. The Viltrumites won't be able to even catch up to Frieza to do that. Man, we're talking about Frieza here. He's never trained, and when he did, he got golden after 2 months. But when he was in that time chamber for 10 years in another universe, he got Black Frieza. And one shot at Goku Ultra Instinct and Vegeta Ultra Ego at full power. He's on another level. He's not getting insta-killed. He's not getting insta-killed.
Full power. which probably would happen because they would want to have the best combat possible.
I think Pan was made.
Literally
though.
A civil war.
Literally though.
Saiyans and Viltrumites won't share power.
Go on, put in that
It will
work.
be short-lived. More variables.
Go on, put in that work.
On one hand, the 50 Viltrumites outnumber the 3 Saiyans. However, since Saiyans seem to grow much more from training and healing compared to Viltrumites, and they grow a lot faster too, these 3 would likely be ahead of the Viltrumites and not equal like I assumed before. So their powers probably wouldn't be even, especially with the Saiyans already being ahead to begin with. Considering we said these Viltrumites would be weaker than the Raditz on average to start with, let's say Vegeta does everything to maintain his power.
It's crazy. That's crazy. There's no way.
Just as a rough estimate. So
no
while
way.
the Viltrumites are 1 million power in each, Vegeta would be more like 20 million, rather than equal.
1 million in power in each?
One Vegeta could take on about 20 Viltrumites, and transformed, he no-diffs them. Plus, a war could trigger an awakening.
No shit.
Here's how I see it going.
If he transforms, he's no different though.
Nappa and Raditz.
He's washing
They're
them.
attacked by groups of Viltrumites, and the Viltrumites prevent them from going grade 8, killing them with high difficulty. Then Vegeta's targeted. They know to not fight near a moon,
No.
Vegeta make one. Push to the brink.
He's
and with Raditz
okay.
and Nappa already defeated,
He's saying even if they use the grade 8 shit, they're gonna blow up the moon and kill them instantly. I don't think so. They're giving them 1 million off the bat, the Viltrumites. I don't think they have 1 million in regards to power level. They're not planetary beings. The Saiyans were blowing up planets with just a beam. It blew up. And if you're saying Earth is bigger than our Earth in that universe, then they're definitely farther than planetary. The Viltrumites aren't doing shit against Saiyans at all. He's washing them in a heartbeat. He just is.
Vegeta having already been on edge for so long, that could all make the perfect storm for Vegeta to go Super Saiyan, especially with all the extra training he's done. In this form, he would defeat the Viltrumites with ease. Even if the power gap is smaller, and even if they're all equal in power, Vegeta would win if he goes Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan makes him exactly 50 times stronger. So if Vegeta's base is equal to the average Viltrumite, going Super Saiyan would exactly let him match 50 Viltrumites.
Yeah.
And that's their collective power, so it's going to make it even easier to kill them, since he could also divide and conquer. Though, if it ever gets to this point of a civil
literally,
war,
I give him about
the stats figure out
700,000.
most likely.
Literally.
But if the 3 Saiyans fought together,
Literally
I think the
700,000
Saiyans
is
would
what
still
I
take
give
this
him.
mid-difficulty.
I wouldn't give him
Though
no
there's a
more,
chance
no
the
less
Viltrumites
than
come
that.
out victorious. It's just
No
not
more, no
all
less than
Saiyans
that.
coming victorious. Either way, my view is that at the end of everything,
They ain't getting that
either
much.
everyone dies and Frieza remains in power, or the second likely option is that all the Viltrumites die, and maybe
They're
even
gonna.
to Nappa,
All the
but Vegeta
Viltrumites
remains
are
in power,
dying.
standing above everyone victorious as the last survivor. But what do you think? Do you think the Viltrumites have a better shot? Do you think they'd be more insignificant? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I know the video involves power scaling, so please be civil when discussing. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on my...
Man, I guess. A W video, I just don't think Frieza is losing at all to any of them. Like, Frieza doesn't... When we talk about Frieza, his power and his scaling is astronomical. And you're putting the Viltrumites already at a base mill, man. You're saying that they can really run the ones with a lot of the people in the Dragon Ball universe, which I just don't think that they can. They ain't blowing up planets with just a beam coming from their hands, or they ain't blowing up planet from a fist. They're at least city level, top. They're blowing up cities. They're leveling cities. Other than that, they ain't doing nothing else. But y'all, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if you have any other reacts that you would like me to check out, or any other videos like this that I should check out. Y'all stay safe out there. Be easy. Peace.